Got my cup of coffee because it's a wet day in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. I know you're getting yours. What's the weather like in your part of the country? In the course of the show, we bring forth several packages from different parts of the nation, all in a bid to talk about the holistic nature of raising a unique Nigerian child. Welcome to Weekendale. My name is Thelma Obaza. It's great to have your company and would like your experiences shared on the show today as you interact with us. Weekendale, the total child, the place of nurturing. As guardians, as parents, as people in the society, we have a responsibility to every child. How often do we take up this responsibility? According to Dr. Joachim Ezeji, who's an expert talking about children and their development, he says when guardians and parents abdicate their responsibility to children, there are dire consequences. Francis, please tell us more.
Stop looking at us.
In a world where time is scarce and responsibilities are many, some parents entrust the task of child nurturing to schools, teachers, and housemates.
If you brought a child to this world, it is your responsibility to cater for the child. You provide guidance, you provide sustenance, you provide you provide care, you provide love. You can't really abdicate that responsibility. If you abdicate it, it's parental indiscipline. So it's not good for parents to keep away so long from home. But you know, that is also what is in vogue now. That is why they are called parents. Father and mother, or husband and wife, will be able to see things not just from the eye of one person, but from the eyes of two people. So they will be able to mold that child the way it should grow. On Sunday, they go to church together. When they are eating, they sit on the family table and have a meal together. You know, in the night, they can also watch TVs together. And then they can have opportunities to also pray together. And you know, a family that is deficient in any of these is a deformed family.
As children grow, nurturing environments continue to support their creative journeys. Providing opportunities for self-expression allows them to tap into their inner mind and discover their unique voices.
When we were children, we competed among ourselves to go to the library who has read the most books. Those things, because when you read a book, you mentally and imaginatively, you travel to distances you have not been. You'll be able to visualize a lot of cultures that are not available to you presently. So you see, though movie tends to bring that closer, but there is this rigor of reading books, because that will give you the ability of being rigorous, you know. So you are rigorous, and you'll be able to catch words and phrases the way they are written in books. So it will help you to improve your own vocabulary. If you don't read, you won't have that intellectual mind. You won't have that intellectual depth. It's important for children to start getting that early enough. Yeah, but now it is not there. So parents should work harder to promote reading culture against just watching videos. And when you see bad behavior, be able to be prompt to correct it. Do not wait. Do not, because the child will cry, you pamper him or you overlook some of those things. Parenting is a 24/7 work, so it's not something you abdicate or you give to somebody else.
Through love, encouragement, and guidance, parents, caregivers, and communities have the power to shape children's lives, laying the groundwork for a bright and prosperous future.
When you have a father or a mother who is very abrasive in behavior. He doesn't empathize with people. He doesn't put in other people's shoes. When he's on traffic, he's shouting at the other motorists. What kind of children do you think you have? Tomorrow a child will be driving that same car and be shouting at other people on the road. Some people do not even care how others feel. They go ahead and ride rough over others. Those things are picked up from parents. So parents who behave well will also be able to impart. These are soft skills your children will pick up effortlessly from you. When they see you are a very temperate and a very kind, calm a father who is very systematic in what you do, your children will pick those gentle traits from you. But if you are an abrasive one who is always rude, who shout on people, who even shout among yourself, shout at your wife shout at you, your children are likely to pick up all those behaviors. A child should know how to sweep the home. Even if your father is a millionaire, he has a lot of mates in the house. Because invariably, if you have mates who cook, who boil the water, who cook the food, who sweep the house, the children will not know how to do those things. So when they get married, of course, when they get married, they will struggle with those things.
Investing in child nurturing is an investment in the country's future, as it paves the way for a prosperous and sustainable society.
Greatness of your children will depend on a number of factors. One is that you must make a determined effort to train them. You train them from the home. So because that training in the home is the foundational one, then you send them to school. That one is also important because it helps them to see beyond the home and it validates the impression they have grown, cultivated at home.
Collaboration between parents, teachers and schools is essential for a child's holistic development. Therefore, our focus on Weekend Deal today will be on the total child, the place of nurturing.
It is not enough for us to wish to have responsive and responsible children. The onus is on us as parents and guardians and the society to make it happen. After all, they do say that charity begins from the home and then it continues onwards to wherever our children will go in the course of their life's journey. Let's touch down in Lagos now and see what's happening as we get this package talking about teaching respect, kindness and empathy to our children. We must be intentional, so they say.
Good afternoon, Mommy.
Good afternoon, my love. How are you today?
Fine.
No one applauds a disrespectful child. It is seen as a bad trait. When one appears respectful, it is attractive and gives him or her a warmth and eloquence appearance. Parents want the children to grow up as all-round cultured adults. Hence, respect is key. It is important to teach children the value of things in life so they do not take you or others for granted. This way, you impact the right behavior on them.
The easiest way to show our children is by the things that we do, how we relate with our domestic workers, with our friends, with other people around us. That is one of the most significant ways that we can show our children that we're people of empathy. Even online, the way that we make comments about people, the things that we write, when our children are of age and they can use social media, we begin to see that they can also emulate the way and manner in which we communicate to other people.
Kindness is something that is inborn. It is what you show them that they imbue. Let me tell you an example. While I was growing up, my mom, I know she's very old. But when she sees people coming, she almost kneels down for them. Then there was a time I said, my mom, why are you greeting people that are, not older than you, that you are older than? She said, that is what my mom told me. In other words, our mom has imparted on her. But psychologically, sometimes you impart, but most times you don't force things on people. You show it.
Empathy is not a fixed trait. It can be fostered. It can be encouraged and cultivated by empathic siblings as well as adult caregivers. But empathy does take time to develop. Children are watching others to learn appropriate ways of behaving and interacting and are known to be influenced by the behavior they see than what they hear.
We can begin to teach them emotional literacy at a very, very early age. That's basic EI, basic emotional intelligence, helping them to understand positive emotions and negative emotions, how to balance them out, how to recognize them and how to walk through them. Also how to identify them in others and be able to have the right reaction to such negative emotions. So if somebody is angry, for example, you don't match it with anger.
We know that when children learn to be empathic early in their development, it will be evident in their relationship with others as they become adults who treat others with kindness, respect, and understanding. Parents can lead by teaching their children to use the magic words like please, thank you, pardon me, sorry, and excuse me.
As we show empathy to one another, you find that the tolerance is there, the love is there, we're able to do things more, we're able to achieve, there's some kind of cohesion. It improves our relationships, our communication, the way that we solve and we handle conflicts. Empathy and kindness actually have a very good way of solving this challenge that we have in society. So the sooner we start to nurture this in our children, the better.
Values are guiding principles that direct our behaviors and attitudes. They position us towards becoming people who are positive contributors to our family and communities. Though they are intangible and abstract, it is never too early to teach and develop values such as kindness, empathy, and compassion in our children.
You know that sometimes when you talk to your child or a child around you, a niece, a nephew, you ask them, did you hear what I said? They will say, I heard. They hear, they listen, but it's more important to do because they're always watching, even when you do not request that they do so. Let's meet and greet our guest, Dr. Mrs. Julie Onoviona, educator, relationship and parenting coach. She's also Executive Director, La Vogue British International School, Abuja. Great to have you on Weekend Deal.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Olariwaju Osho, Executive Director, Inspire Nigeria Initiative. A good friend of the house and the NTA family. Great to have you with us on Weekend Deal today.
It's a pleasure, Thelma. Good morning, Nigerians.
We talk about the total child. And they say the place of nurturing. When we talk about nurturing, I know we're not just talking about food. Set the tone, madam.
Thank you very much, Thelma. Nurturing means putting the child, preparing the child to become successful in life. Putting all the values that will make him or her to be a successful youth in the nearest future. Not necessarily giving food and all those things, no. It goes beyond that. The values are key to nurturing a child.
Interesting. Mr. Osho, she has used the word values. Values, virtues, are they one and the same? And when we say values with regards to our children, what are we talking about specifically?
Thank you, Tema. Value and virtues are not exactly the same. Values are society, ethos, ethics, and moral, compass that guides a child. Virtues are the manifestation of, the formation of this, the adoption of this good moral behavior. As kindness, as empathy, as compassion, as appreciation, and so on and so forth. And the life of a child or the heart of a child is like a clean slate, and we are writing on a daily basis on top of the slate. And what we write on it, we stick. Some may be erased if they are not good. Some may stick with them for the rest of their lives. So we as adults, we are actually models, molding the life of young people by the way we live our lives. They see us. One thing I want every viewer to know is that children see you, whether they are your biological children or your nephews, your nieces, or even children in the neighborhood. They see the way we talk, they see the way we act, they see the things they see the things we do, and they see some of them mirror us.
They hear what we say as well. They hear what we say.
And they mirror us.
Okay, Dr. Mrs. Julie, when we talk about being intentional, let us marry intentionality. Let us take it from the home. Charity, they say, begins at home. So if charity is already at home, why are we not asking for collaborative charity also from other places where our children will visit?
Like you rightly said, charity begins at home. And for a child to be properly nurtured, you have to be deliberate about it. Like Pastor Osho said, it has to come from us. Because they watch what we do, they watch what we say, and they want to act it. So if, as a parent, you are fond of quarreling, using foul words, they want to act that way too. And that is the reason why we have a problem in the society now, because most homes are battered, most homes are in shambles. And this gives birth to what we have in the society.
What do we have in society?
In the society now, you have all kinds of children who are not properly brought up, who are not properly trained. That's why you can have a child who is supposed to be in the school, learning in the school. You see that child traveled out of the country without even the parents knowing.
But sometimes the parents do know. Parents have been known to take their children out of school and take them for holidays. But
why school is in session? Why
school is in session. But Mr. Osho, take it from there. Let us look at how the home and the school can work together, because we've come to see that the home can't do it alone. Your best intentions are not enough because you're not spending 24 hours with your child. They are being educated and hopefully enlightened in the proper way. So tell us about a good collaboration with the best intentions and what the likely outcome can be, as against what Dr. Julie says.
Okay, thank you. When you speak about home, then you assume that it's actually a home. You see, the home is a journey. The home is a girl that is well raised by her parents, a boy that is well raised by his parents, and they have come together also to form a family. Now, if the girl is not well raised and the man is well raised, there's already, a gap. If they are both raised, then the school has wonderful partners to work with. If none of them is well raised, then the children are completely abandoned to the school to raise. And if you look around today, this is the summation of what we have on us in the society. There are kids that come to school completely, my wife is an educationist also, so I see this. The kids come to school, they do not have any signature of right parenting on them. From the way
when you say right signature, what does the wrong signature look like?
Okay, wrong signature, for example, is at home. You have taught your children that other people have rights as well. So everything is not
as in respect.
Respect. Everything is not all about them. You have taught them how to speak to others, because when
politely, courteously.
Yes. Okay. You have taught them mannerism, how to behave, how to respect their teachers, and how to believe that everybody is not working for them, and so on and so forth. So when those kind of children get to school, and then the teacher's duty, the school educator's duty is to reinforce what the parents have already taught them, and when they see gap, they feel this gap.
But unfortunately,
I need to ask you to hold your thoughts. Yes, we're going to come right back to talk about this. Hold your thoughts. We're coming back. We'll need to take a break now. We'll be right back. Please stay with us. Before the break, we're talking with Dr. Mrs. Julie Onoviona, who is an educationist, a relationship and a coach as well. And then we're talking with Olarinwaju Osho, Executive Director, Inspire Nigeria Initiative. We want to continue that conversation.
When you are teaching your child how to be late to school, it means it's going to affect everything about that child. He's being trained not to manage time. He doesn't know the value of time, and that's an issue. At times when they come to school, you see them emotionally, they are not there, And by the time you come close to ask them, what's the problem? Why are you not smiling? My mommy and my daddy fought, and my daddy broke the television, broke this, broke that.
Mr. Osho, let's take it from there. When the home is not stable, when things are not smooth there, it affects the child.
Absolutely.
What can be done?
You see, what we have to do is we have to, Jesus said something in the Bible. He said, for their sake, I sanctified myself. Parents must know that God gave them children, to train for him. And then because of that, they must be willing to deliberately, intentionally, consciously know that, look, I am in the space of these children whenever I'm at home. And whatever I do, I have to be conscious that it will affect them positively or negatively. So therefore, you discipline yourself, self-discipline. Every mother, every father, every couple must practice self-discipline. You don't have to...
A lot of parents are not disciplined.
Just a minute. There's no way in a home there won't be disagreements every now and then.
There will be disagreements.
Are we saying there will never be?
No, you can form a ground rule that we will never quarrel in the presence of our children, that we will never argue or have altercation in the presence of our children in loud tone. You can deliberately, agree that, look, whenever anybody does anything for anybody in this house, we are going to say thank you. And we're going to use those common courtesy. And then we're going to use those 5 magical words in our house, starting from home.
Okay.
Then through that, it now cascades to the school. And then the school also built on it and bring it back to you. So on a daily basis, we are adding value. The home is adding value, the school is adding value. And we must not forget those 3 core areas that Dr. Benjamin Bloom spoke about. The cognitive, the affective, and the psychomotor. So as they are doing it in school, it must be replicated in the house.
But tell me, Dr. Julie, as an educationist, you run a school, so education is key. The children must benefit, must be enlightened. And then, because you are dealing with children at different ages, you must relate to their parents as well. When you see things that you think is not in the best interest of the child, how do you bring the parents on board and work together in a manner that will be in the best interest of the child?
Well, we've been doing that.
How successful has it been?
Yes, very, very successful. When we observe a thing, we call the attention of the parents. And the fact is this, most of the parents don't even know their kids. They don't know who their children are. They open up more to us. For instance,
the children of the parents?
The children. The children open up to we teachers than to their parents.
Why is that so?
The reason is most times the parents don't take time to listen. They don't listen to their children. They don't care what they go through. They don't know who their friends are. They don't have time for them. So when they come to school and we observe their mood, we're able to talk them out and see what they're going through. For instance, there was a time I had a program for the children. It was a gender talk. And I spoke on abortion, that children must not have sex. If you have sex, these are the repercussions. And after the program, a child ran to me. She was 12 years old and told me, Mommy, I've aborted 3 times.
How old was that child?
12. She was 12 years. And I said, do you understand what I just told you? He said, yes. I said, is your mommy aware? She said, yes. Who gave you the pregnancy? He said, it's my father. And my mommy said, I should not tell anybody. So a lot of them are going through emotional...
traumatic experiences.
Traumatic experiences.
But you've opened the chapter to another level of our conversation because this is turmoil and trauma even within the home. This is not being... this is not taking note of that child. This is abuse.
Yeah.
But let us take a feature. Ijoma Ona has been talking about encouraging open communication with our children. When we come back, as we address what Ijoma will bring to the table, we'll also take a look again about what Dr. Julie said. Ijoma, please tell us what you found.
Good communication between parents and children is important for developing a long-lasting positive relationship and nurturing a total child. Communication is very vital, especially in the times in which we find ourselves. A lot of things are happening among our children. Our children are exposed to way too many things than we were exposed as children. There is a deluge of information that our children are being besieged by. And it is important that we understand how these things are happening, the things that they are exposed to, and how they are able to interpret these things, how these things influence them, and how they use these things. And the only way to get into their thinking patterns and their interpretative patterns is by conversation. And that is missing in many homes. When communication is open and effective, children feel respected and understood by their parents, which is a great lift for their self-esteem. Parents believe that because they are children, they don't have a right of opinion, they don't understand a lot of things. They tell them how to think, they tell them how to interpret, how to understand. And then when you do that a lot to children, they shut down. They believe that you know everything and you don't give them fair hearing. So whenever they see you in their space, they hold back. And then the things that they are unable to say because you're the one there, they say to other people who give them better opportunities to speak. This is something that causes that permanent gap, dirt, in interactions between children and their parents. However, very often, there are factors that create gap in communication between parents and their children, one of which has been identified by experts as lack of spending quality time with children. So you see, time, it is the biggest barrier. Any parent who is able to create time is able to handle a lot more other things. Lack of trust between parents and children is a huge barrier. To work on trust with your children, you need to zero out judgment. If you're a judgmental parent, like many parents are, like our parents were, you see that gap, it will be difficult to bridge. It is noted that when communication lines are open and conversational with children early in life, they find it difficult to keep secrets from their parents. So, how then should parents encourage and sustain healthy communication with their children? One of the greatest magics that any parent can do to get a conversation going with their child is to gain their trust. How do you gain their trust? You allow them to say their mind as it is without dressing it up, without trying to impress you. And when they do say their minds, never ever judge. Listen. Even if you feel that they have done something wrong, you don't shut them down, you don't judge them. Get them into a conversation over what they have done or said or left undone or left unsaid. Active listening, empathy, and creating a safe and non-judgmental space in dialogue between parents and children are essential tools and strategies to nurturing a total child.
IJ, that was quite in-depth. Omelogo Unandi opened another door that we must ask you at this time about. Do your children trust you? Father, does your child trust you? Female or male? Mother, do your children share things with you? Before the break, Dr. Julie told us about abuse. which can be traumatic for a child at any age. Mr. Osho, we talk about trust and communication, but let's talk about what Dr. Julie let us know before we took Ijoma's feature. She talked about a 12-year-old child having experienced 3 abortions, and her father is said to be responsible for the pregnancies. And perhaps was the mother involved in the
mother was
process?
aware. Yeah, I wouldn't know, but okay. I asked her, was your mother aware? She said yes, that the mother said she should not tell anybody so that the church will not hear of it and remove the husband from being a pastor.
Mr. Osho.
Thank you very much. You see, we have a Child Rights Act, actually, that speaks to this issue we are talking about. And the Child Rights Act was done during the time of President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2003. And Section 22, Section 127 speaks about who is a child, and it stops at 18 years. So that's 12. Some are 18, some are 17 that are also suffering that. And then Section 22 speaks about what we should protect a child from. And definitely those kind of children, I mean, that child is not protected. Now, why we are not able to raise total children, when we say total children, it means that some have been damaged. Let me finish this thought. Some have been damaged. That's why they are not total children. And the reason why they are not total children is that the father or the mother is failing in the 7 basic duties of a father. A father is not only a protector, but 95% of fathers today, provider. 95% of fathers today, what they focus on as a parent is providing.
How to bring money.
Protection. If you know that your duty is to protect your child, you can't be the one that the child is now suffering abuse from.
That's the greatest betrayal.
Okay, so, and the area of trust is also come from fulfilling your role as a friend. A father is a friend. A father is an encourager. A father is a helper.
A motivator.
A motivator. So in the process of doing this work, the child gain your trust. You earn it. You have to earn it. A lot of people, a lot of fathers and mothers in the house, they see nothing. Things can actually go wrong under their roof and they do not know. Because the mother feels that my role is just to go to the kitchen and make food for these children. And at times it's not the father that is abusing the children. It may even be the uncle or somebody around. So house. If the father is also present, that he will also, he will be able to say, look, you are moody, you have not come out of your room today, what's wrong with you? And then you talk it out. So these are the issues that we have to
look at. The father is always available.
Yeah.
There is need for the fathers to be physically available. When you are physically available, the child will be comfortable enough to come and tell you 1 or 2 things. But when the father is never there, you leave the house 5 a.m. in the morning, come back 11 p.m. every day, Monday to Sunday.
That's working very hard. Okay, but now let's talk to the children.
Yeah.
We want our children, male and female, to be able to talk to adults around them, whether they are biological parents or not. This is a very horrific case where the person who you are meant to put all your trust in betrays you in the worst way. But perhaps it happens, and we do hear it happens in more incidences than we can even imagine. What should the young child do? Because had you not had that open talk in school, that girl may not have spoken up as early on as she did, which is even late. So when should our girls, our boys, when should they speak? What are those things that are not okay that they should speak up about? And when mother and father fail in terms of being present, either physically or psychologically, what should the children do?
Well, like I said earlier on, communication is key. And while we can only have access to these children while they are in school. And so I will encourage the children to speak out to their teachers. Anything you're going through, whether good or bad, speak out to your teachers. The teachers are in the best position to know how to go about it. Then if the child is able to open up to the teachers, that is when we come in and invite the parents to inform them of what the child is going through. So until the child speaks to the teacher, we may not know.
But you can observe as a mother, as a father. That's why I said
once they come, once we see them in the school, we take note of their mood. Immediately a child is dropped into the school compound.
Your vigilante mode kicks in.
Yes. You easily know that this child is not happy. Just bring the child aside and ask him, what's the problem? Why are you not happy? Why is your mood like this? The child will immediately open up to you. And so I want to plead with parents. They should have a listening ear. They don't give listening ears to their children. And that's why they bottle up whatever pains they're going through. And some parents, some mothers, find it difficult to talk to their girl child about sex education. Our girl child should be able to know what her sex life is all about, even from age 2. There are songs for those parts. You ask the child to touch this, touch this.
Teach them early on. Okay, but we'll continue our conversation. NTA Abuja has been examining another critical area in building the total child, which is teaching them to set healthy boundaries. Please share.
As children mature and social interactions get more complex, they need to comply with set boundaries and expectations, but this takes practice, which eventually result in consistency, discipline, and security.
If you are a teacher in a class and you tell a student, I know you will disturb me, that child will keep on disturbing you. But if you change it and you tell that child, I am putting up a responsibility on you to stop anybody from disturbing me, and I'm sure you can do this effectively, you will see that that child will be the one saving you from disturbance. When we say clear boundaries for children, this is your bedtime, this is the time to brush your teeth, this is the time to study your book, that thing helps them into adulthood. One of the things that has been said to be one of the most important value for any child to inculcate, it is consistency, the ability to keep on doing that thing for a long time. So my child, by after 8, no one has access to their phone again. We lock our phones here. By social time, all of us will study a book. And one very important thing is, don't tell the children to do, you yourself do it yourself. If you do it with them, it makes them more interested in that thing. You as the father, if you lock the children's phone and you are still chatting on your own phone, the children see the hypocrisy in what you are doing, and they themselves will just see it as, this person is punishing us. You must sacrifice. It's difficult. You must sacrifice yourself to supervise it. So if you set boundaries for children, they already know that they won't have their ways all the time. And they are already accustomed to patience. They have self-control. When there's frustration at their face, they don't lose themselves and regret their actions later. In terms of safety, like in our house when we're growing up, all of us must be at home by 7. So that kind of child is not used to coming home by 12. So the danger in coming home very late, you've expunged it from that child's life. So being able to set boundaries for children helps to mentor those children, helps to coach them, and helps them to get better. But a house that you live without laws, without boundaries, without expectations, the children will live on the run of the mill. They will just live anything that comes. So you will also reap any result that comes. So actually setting boundaries and also setting expectation is actually having plan for the children. And science has validated that the prefrontal cortex, a part of the brain responsible for thinking and judgment, does not go into maturity until mid-20s. So children below their mid-20s are expected to make fundamental mistakes. That is why children below 25 cannot be left alone, because whether they like it or not, their brain simply has not gone into maturity. Leaving your children is not parenting. It's like leaving them to failure, leaving them to self-destruction. And the fourth leading cause of death amongst people within the age of 12 to 16 is actually suicide. So that means you've also kept your child safe from that kind of thing. So it's like you are molding your children for a good future. There's a book written by Dr. Ibrahim Duba called Tell, Don't Yell. I think the first strategy is to tell children and not yell at them, because studies has validated that when you yell at a child, at someone, that person believes you've punished me. So the person repeats that task. So don't wait till a child makes a mistake before telling the child the right thing to do. Have a 10, 20, 15 minutes in your house that you sit to discuss good actions. You tell stories. That was what was known with Africans. You know why? Their defense mechanism will come out when they've already made a mistake. So they are not ready to take correction. They are ready to defend themselves. So that particular thing will not sink for a long time. So if you are not ready to make the sacrifice, don't start it at all. As long as you are not consistent, it won't work. But as long as you put in the consistency, you will also reap the good outcome later on.
Our program Weekend Deal is interactive. Continue to send in your messages, real life experiences, ask your questions. Our experts and their parents themselves, they are here. They will do their best to provide answers and solutions. Dr. Julie, you were saying it's not as easy as that. But when you decide to have a child, are you not already, without writing the word somewhere, making a commitment to yourself and society and the world that I will do my best every time?
Yeah, it's a commitment, but not everybody is committed to those vows. You know, because of the pursuit of money, the mother is not available, the father is not available. Both decide to leave in the morning as early as 5 a.m. They don't come back until 10 p.m. So how do you bring in those values into the children? That's why I said it's easier said than done.
But it can be done.
It can be done if we are determined, if we are deliberate about it. I remembered in those days while I was grooming my children, I went everywhere with them.
Even when they were young?
Even when they were young.
Even when it was not convenient?
Even when it was not convenient. It's all about being an organized mother. And when you are an organized mother, you'll be able to put them first and give them the time they need for them to be able to do what is right.
Okay. Mr. Osho, it does seem as though some guardians or parents are not willing to make healthy sacrifices for their children. Is it that they are putting themselves first? Because I've heard parents say, the money I'm looking for is it not to raise the children and to give them the best? So how do we strike a balance between this pursuit of money, which is necessary, and then raising healthy and responsive children?
You make sacrifices when you are very, very conscious of when you have valued what you are making sacrifice for. There has to be evaluation. You see, the way I see it is that a lot of people are not actually prepared to be parents. You know, boy dating girl, they slept together, they were not preparing for a child, and they became pregnant, and then they became married. And then it happened. You know, in management, they say there are 5 P's: proper planning, prevent poor performance. So also in parenting, there has to be proper planning. Proper planning to get married and how to raise the children. And what to raise the children on. You understand me? It's not, you know, we have talked about, you know, there's a spiritual element of it. You are a father, you are a mother, you are zero in spirituality. So what do you download to these children? Then financial management. You know, you are a father, you are a mother, any small money that comes to your hand, you go and buy iPhone 10. How do you teach them how to manage finance? You understand me? So you are a bully as a father, as a mother. You talk to people anyhow. How do you raise children that are courteous, that value people and talk to them with respect? So this thing can be done, but it has to be deliberate. Fatherhood is an assignment from God. Motherhood is an assignment from God. So if you understand that I'm a father as an assignment, I'm a mother as an assignment, then you put all your energy into doing that, because you are going to give account to the Almighty God that you gave me this daughter, this son, and look at what I produced out of him or
okay, let me take another message. Okay, let me just take one message before we go to another of our features. Ayi Aboyi is reaching us from Otupo in Benue State. He says, today's topic is very interesting and it has a great impact on who we become. He says, these days, the quest to acquire wealth by all means possible has caused many parents and guardians to disconnect from their children. And they leave these children at the mercy of the society or anyone. And then they face the good, the bad, and the ugly. He says parents must be deliberate in raising children. They must make time for their children. Because once the time to raise them is lost, it is lost.
It is lost.
Eki Aboyi from Otupo in Benue State. Wow.
That's good.
We do know that many of us, when we were growing up, we traveled a lot.
Yes.
We visited our grandparents, you know, and even sometimes while our parents were there, our grandparents took charge and corrected some of us, even our parents, for some things that they thought was not done in the proper way. Well, Uju has been talking with 95-year-olds, grandparents, great-grandparents, and let us hear what they have to share with us.
I don't live in or have food. He's a small child. You can't do this, you can't do that. Or this is a boy, you can't do what girls do. No, start early to train them. But whatever I do in the village, they follow me.
There were some things I personally would have loved to engage because we didn't grow up at home. So when the war came and we came back, there are certain things, like, you know, the dance, the village dance, today I've not forgiven that I was not able to do those. You know how they tie that small thing? The jigida? We were never allowed to do that.
People will take their own children, come to us, sweeping outside very early in the morning. The children had to wake up early and sweep outside before it's 7 o'clock or 6:30. You, the mother or father of a child, has gotten up in the morning, you are doing something. I enter your house, I say, where is your daughter or your son? You say he's sleeping. You are killing that child. Why is he sleeping? Why am I awake? Why I'm working? For what? He must do the housework as others are doing. If the boys are cleaning the compound, the boy joins them to clean the compound. You teach them how to make their beds, even as early as 6. Teach them how to take responsibility. And it's not everything a child requests you must give.
Hey, these children, oh, you're still lying down, watching TV. It won't be long now, your mother will come back from work. Eh? We're expecting Angel. Please stand up. It's not good now.
Angel is good.
Where is she, by the way?
I just called the school. They said she's on her way back.
Okay. I know I can always rely on you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh,
Angel!
I was just asking after you.
Are you back?
I just like to I wanted to show you about this graduation, what you think about the fashion sense.
Oh, my baby. Wow.
Yes, so I told some of my friends and they were like, it's not fine. And I said if I tell Auntie Uju, she will say it's fine. So I came to show you pictures.
Yeah.
Can I be part of what is making two of you happy like this?
Oh, Angel, no, that's your mommy. Okay.
I'll find you up in the room. Angel! Angel! Auntie Uju?
Yes, ma.
Please, just sit. No, sit down. Sit down, please. I need to talk to you. I just feel heartbroken. My daughter, Angel, you understand why I work this much. You know I have to provide for the home. You know how the economy is currently. And you know there are a lot of things that are on my shoulders and I'm carrying. Please, you need to help me. I know I've relied so much on you.
You know, I've spoken to you severally about her work and her not being around. Yes, you're my friend, but you also need to be more friendly with your mommy. It's not good to treat her like that. Please, promise me.
I promise.
Okay, baby. That's my girl.
Angel.
When you allow one to happy family. Thank you. Thank you, ma. Thank you. Thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. We're just talking with Dr. Julie and Mr. Osho, and she was just running a commentary right as that drama was unfolding. We saw how the daughter walked out on the mother, and the mother now sought bonding time, perhaps through games, through relaxation time and periods. We can gain the trust of our children. You were telling me, Dr. Julie, that it's the children who dictate the pace and the circumstances of how they are raised and what happens in the home. How is that?
Well, of recent, that's what we've discovered. When you ask a child, he will tell you, this is what I've told my mommy, and that is what is going to stand. For instance, maybe her friend now left the school to another school. The next thing is she wants to leave the school to join her friend where the friend has just gone.
School,
and the parents will say no. The next thing is, I'm changing my child from this school. Before you know it, the child has gone to a friend's school. You don't even know what the school is all about.
Or what the attachment between the two children
the two children. So most times, parents are responsible for all this misbehavior in our children. And we need to be deliberate in disciplining them. When we are not deliberate, when you don't draw your line, then you miss it. And that's why the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Mr. Osho, how do you strike a balance? There are times where they say the guardian or the parent is too harsh, and that also has repercussions. They're also telling us, don't be too soft. It has repercussions. What is the best way forward? So you raise a child who is independent, who is strong, and of good character.
The best way for me is the way of the scripture. Proverbs 22, verse 6. Train up a child in the way he should go. Now, this training should start very early. You know, like your drama. That girl is already a teenager. So, I mean, if she had bonded with the child when the child was 1, 2, 3, 4, it would not be like that. So, let's focus on child development, child training, early from the beginning. You know, in those days when we were growing up, you know, they measured chores for us in the house. Everybody does his chores. You understand me? And then when you have done, if you do not do your chores, you will be punished to do that. And then your parents will still explain to you and say, okay, I punish you because of this. So let's not just, in maintaining the balance, put your feet on the ground and enforce discipline where it needed to be enforced.
Can there be too much discipline?
There can't be too much discipline if you communicate. So when you have disciplined the child, then you call the child, sweetheart, did you know why I did this? You understand me now? It's because of A, B, C, D, and F.
I also observe that you cannot give what you don't have.
Yeah, of course.
Some of these people cannot really give to their children what they have not learned.
Because they were not raised?
Because they were not properly raised. So what are you going to be giving to the children? When you yourself, that call yourself a mother and a father, you are not disciplined, you don't even know all those things you are supposed to introduce to your children.
I know in times past we said the community raised the child, but in these days some of us are not too aware of what is happening in our community, let alone allowing our children to be raised by that same community. In your final word, one sentence, do we go back to the times of old?
Well, the times of old, I would say, is even better than the time we are now. We are in the jet age, and civilization is almost taking over everything in a negative way. So we should be able to live in a communal setup whereby your neighbors are your best friend, they are your pals, they can talk to your children, they can correct your children. But these days it's not like that. Okay. Everybody is just on his or her own, which is not
in our best interest. Mr. Osho, wrap up.
I'm wrapping up by appealing to every young man who is yet to be married, who is yet to be a father, every young girl who is yet to be married, who is yet to be a mother. Train yourself to, consciously that one day you are going to become a father and a mother. Train yourself now. And to all parents who are well raised, but who have now used, laissez-faire attitude to spoil their children, it is your future you are spoiling. It is your legacy that you are spoiling. And you have to just retrace your steps and correct your errors. If you have to appeal to the children, appeal to them. Look, I didn't raise you well. I've learnt my lesson now. Let's start all over again.
Interesting angle. I can imagine that happening in real time.
Yeah, we have to
Mr. Olarawaju Osho, Executive Director, Inspire Nigeria Initiative, thank you for being a part of our conversation. Dr. Mrs. Julie Onowiona, Educator, Relationship and Parenting Coach, Executive Director, La Vogue British National School, Abuja. Keep talking to our parents and guardians for those who will still find time to listen. Thank you for being a part of our program today.
Thank you very much.
You are watching Weekend Deal. A break beckons. Keep your messages coming in. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Weekend Deal. We thank you very much for paying keen attention to our program all through when we started and up till now. It's always great to have you watching and learning together. Tomorrow is another day. But before we go, let's have this to ponder on. In a bid to make sure you don't hurt your children or your words, don't end up making them become irresponsible adults or a deficit aspect of our great society and what we're building at home and globally. It's great having you. God bless Nigeria. Let's do it again bright and early tomorrow morning, also on Weekend Deal. From all of us here, it's bye-bye.